I grew up in an age and time when we go to school and we do something bad, the cane was always present in the form of corporal punishment to make sure we turn back to doing the right thing. In this day and age, that is a thing of the past. And that makes classroom control even more difficult. Now, in today's video, I'm going to talk about 10 things that I have written down. These aren't theories. These are things that I have tried myself. I took my time, I sat down, I thought about these, and I wrote these down for you. So let's get right into this. Let's take it from the top. Before even proceeding to talk about the 10 things that I wrote down, let me talk about the Alha Point, which is that the best form of classroom control or classroom management has to do with a good relationship. A good relationship with your students is the best way to make sure you keep them in check. So if you don't have a good relationship with your students, that would be the best place to begin. Now, you can do that in various ways, helping them out with stuff, giving them stuff, rewarding them, letting them know how you care about them and how you're there for their sake. Now, let's talk about these 10 things. So number one that I'm going to talk about, and I feel a lot of teachers actually skip this because they think this is automatic and it's not, is rules. You've got to make sure that the kids or your students know what the rules are. You have to make it clear. You have to make sure you have come to an understanding, an agreement, a point of consensus with your students, and they know what exactly they're supposed to do and not do in class. The first week, the second week, you have to go over the rules, the things that you would accommodate and what you would not. In other words, do not shout when teacher is teaching. Do not sit inappropriately when teacher is teaching. Do not fidget when teacher is teaching. You need to make sure the kids know or your students know everything before you jump into the lesson, into your semester. Number two, call and response. This is really good. A lot of people know this. If you're a good teacher, you know this already, which is that you say something and the students have to respond with something back. The good thing about this is that it could work really well when you get your students to learn a bunch of them. The bad thing about this is it takes time for them to get used to it. It takes time for them to learn it. It's not something that is automatic. You have to teach it to them. So right from the get-go, you can incorporate this into your lessons. One of the best ones that I use, follow me, the kids say follow you. Stand up, sit down, stand up. You can use a whole bunch of them. You can even come up with some on your own. The next one is the countdown. The countdown is particularly interesting because, first of all, it creates urgency. And second of all, there's a contrast between what is happening now and what is going to happen when you don't get ready. So the countdown is really easy to do and you know what it is. So you can shout 3, 2, 1, and then, you can do whatever you thought about doing if they did not respond to your countdown. It lets the student prepare themselves in order to avoid what the teacher might or might not do at the end of the countdown. So the countdown is a really good way to do classroom management or classroom control. So the next one is to show that the noise level of the class has gone beyond what the teacher would accommodate. And one of the ways I usually like to do this is to put a bell in front of the class, and I will let a student go ring the bell when the noise level is beyond what it's supposed to be, or when the students are not paying attention and you want to get their attention back. So ringing the bell lets them know, hey, teacher wants you to pay attention. And you can have any student at all do this, ring the bell. It's usually interesting as well for that student. So the bell ring is a good one. Now, another thing you can do is a quick activity. A quick activity is particularly good because it just brings the kids in to do whatever it is you want them to do. The bad thing about that is it usually takes you away from the lesson or the main thing you're doing for that lesson, and then it just throws you into another activity. However, the good thing is that activity is usually something that is interesting and they love to do, and therefore it works in getting their attention back. Now, this is a rather unconventional one, which is this one that you can just pause and watch. The pause and watch sometimes can create discomfort, and it gets the kids to realize that, okay, the teacher is not continuing the lesson because there's something we are doing wrong. And sometimes the kids will come to their senses and then they will just reorganize themselves and keep quiet. And some of the students might even shout at others like, hey, teacher, So another thing you can do is to reshuffle sitting arrangements. Sometimes when some students sit together, they create commotion. And therefore, doing a reshuffle is a good way to break or split those students up and to gain control of your classroom again. So sometimes you can try to reshuffle if nothing else is working. Next one is to spice up the lesson in a way that they just can't help but be interested in the lesson. I hate to say this, but sometimes the reason why the classroom falls into chaos is because the lesson is particularly uninteresting. And therefore, you as the teacher, you might have to do something in order to spice up the lesson. Do something that is fun. Do something that is engaging. Just introduce something beyond the ordinary. Just do something, spice things up. The next one is what I call the scapegoat theory. In other words, setting an example with one of the students to show all the others, this is what's going to happen to you if you don't listen to the teacher. It's very simple. Just bring out one student, punish them, and let the others watch. You can put them in the corner. You can shout at them, scream, whatever it is that you call punishment. You can take away their stickers. You can take away their toys, whatever it is, and let the others watch. That could put some fear in them. And you might get control of your class again. So, scapegoat theory. Now, the final thing, which is a little unconventional, and don't overdo this, is to just do nothing. Just leave the students for a while. Just give them about 5 minutes to, clear their head. Maybe the lesson is they're tired or something. Just give them 5 minutes. Just rest as well as the teacher. Just watch them. Just let them play. Do something by themselves. And then, okay, all right. Let's put it back together, and then you continue your lesson. Sometimes you can even tell them, okay, guys, I understand you're tired. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, okay? All right, now start. 5 minutes, okay? Do whatever you want. In 5 minutes, we continue the lesson. You'd be surprised how much of an effect that could have. These are the 10 really effective methods that I use interchangeably in my lesson. Now, what you need to understand is that it's not like one works all the time. Sometimes you can try one and it doesn't work. You have to just switch to another one. Try whatever works in the moment. Just remember this. Classroom management, class control is something that is ongoing. It's not something that you do once and that's it. And therefore, you have to continually innovate yourself in order to make sure you have absolute control of your classroom. All right. Thank you for watching this one all the way to the end. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.